A ruling today from a judge keeps a Milwaukee boy's case in adult court. He's accused of shooting and killing his mom over a virtual reality headset.
Shooting. I'm going to confirm the name of the suspect this one time only during this press conference as Ethan Crumbly, age 15.
Louis police, they show the child's black backpack filled with little blue pills. They appear to be what is known as M30 pills or counterfeit Vicodins. Altogether, this drug load is worth more than $100,000 on the street.
16-year-old Malia Sotelo remains in adult court on a $150,000 cash bond. She was just 15 when she was charged with first-degree reckless homicide and delivering drugs.
You've chosen to make a murder one or assault one charge for 16-year-olds or 17-year-olds, it is automatically placed into adult court.
You face stiffer penalties for sure than you do as a juvenile most of the time.
He has no idea what he's in for.
Modern-day America has had some evolution since its founding. We would have never have imagined even 50 years ago that kids would be getting caught in this country of drug trafficking, committing rape, and even homicide. Although it's true that in the middle of the 19th century, a lot of juveniles have been committing crime, this was usually due to sustain themselves or their families during the rise of urbanization and immigration to the States. But now, we as a society are addressing and dealing with kids sometimes not even 13, committing heinous crimes like Lionel Tate, who stomped a playmate to death when he was 12, and more notably the recent trend of school shootings, like the most recent shooting in Georgia by Colt Gray, a 14-year-old. State by state has different takes on exactly what the minimum age should be for instant full accountability in adult court. Most states allocate the federal adult age of 18 for full accountability, but it still does differ by state legislators and if they have radical ideas on what age they think kids should be fully accountable. Seriously, West Virginia? The key differences between juvenile court and adult court is that adult court is revolved around punishment, while juvenile court is held for rehabilitation for troubled children, and therefore will never hinder a child for the rest of their life for any case so long as it's in juvenile court. But for something as severe as homicide, prosecutors almost always charge kids under this minimum. Looking back at the graph of me roasting West Virginia, states do have a lower age that say when kids can be transferred to adult court while being a minor under this minimum as mentioned. For West Virginia's case, it's actually backwards. A minor can be transferred to juvenile court if they were immediately sent to adult court due to there being no minimum age protecting them from immediate adult court, as long as they are incompetent under 14, which most kids under 14 probably are. The decision to transfer a minor to adult court is held either by a district attorney or juvenile court judge. Of course, this also varies from state to state. In Ohio, for instance, a juvenile court judge decides if a case stays in their court or is transferred, which is the case for most states. But in Arizona, for instance, a district attorney has the discretion to file a motion and have a hearing in juvenile court to justify a transfer. Unless, of course, the legislator already defined when a minor can immediately be sent to adult court, as we already talked about. Defense for these minors is of course offered through the legal system just like any other adult defendant. Juvenile defense attorneys and normal public defense attorneys are slightly different in nature. In states that require a hearing to transfer cases, a juvenile defense attorney might assist in defending a minor by keeping them in juvenile court and may even continue to defend them in adult court so long as the transfer is successful. If a minor is transferred immediately to adult court due to the path state legislators paved for district attorneys, a juvenile defense attorney may never be in the picture. Of course, this leads to longer sentences and less rehabilitative resources despite being at such a young age. The most interesting take on this topic is sentencing. People tend to prefer incumbents that are tough on crime, and this is proven from election initiative purposes, but does it also apply to minors that commit felonies? A study on Gallup found that the view is very divided among Americans. In 2023, 47% of Americans preferred lenient treatment in juvenile court, as opposed to 46% wanting the same treatment in normal court as an adult. As we can clearly see, this is a massive spike from 2000, when only 24% of American participants of the same survey preferred leniency for minors and 65% of participants preferred the same treatment as adults. This could be the case for a number of reasons, like the public's unwillingness to incarcerate as many children since the massive increase of school shootings, drug offenses, or other violent crime committed by minors. Maybe it's also in part caused by the mental decline of today's youth. We can use this data to keep in mind that anyone with an interest for defense for juveniles would care more about them having a less harsh sentence, or at least a chance at it. This highlights the importance for minors to have a juvenile defense attorney. So with this in consideration, do judges actually care about giving less harsh sentences for juveniles in adult court than adults in adult court? The simple answer is no. Using information from a comprehensive study published on the National Library of Medicine, minors actually receive longer sentences on average compared to their young adult counterparts. This study refers to the juvenile penalty, which is the idea that judges tend to view minors as more dangerous and repeating offenders. This stigmatization occurs when prosecutors or juvenile judges produce waivers that over-exaggerate the severity of a case of a minor because of the efforts to have the case transferred to adult court. The only situation this study does not consider is shootings, which usually leave a life sentence. This problem is ongoing today, with more and more minors committing crime today in America than ever before. Many tough-on-crime red states are making direct pathways for these kids to go straight to adult court, while others are raising the minimum age a child can be transferred to adult court, making full comprehensive use of their juvenile court systems for rehabilitative purposes. Although it's costly to appropriate rehabilitation services to properly be effective, is it worth it? Or is it more effective as a society to accept the fact that juveniles are simply going to become consistent repeating offenders due to mental, societal, and social outcomes of their childhood? This is somewhat of a touchy topic, with so many factors to consider, and has inspired many movements across the states to promote rehabilitation over punishment for juveniles. And this is all because of the direct pathways created by legislators on today's minors. Thank you.